1 second.
Oh, I didn't know that you're into this.
Yeah, I came here in January 2020. So it was recent.
Okay. Nice. Nice. So good to have you. I did not expect you to join us.
Oh, really? Okay. But it's a pleasure. I hope I can
Sorry.
Yeah, because I asked first.
No interruptions,
What
I know.
contribute? Of course you will. Yes. Good. You still have like few more minutes. We're waiting for Mariam to join us.
Mhm.
Then we can start.
Well, you have already seen Islamabad, so Sweden
I
was
missed
not.
it.
Yeah, Sweden was not very different from it. You know, it's green,
Interesting.
it's clean, so it wasn't a huge difference. So I'm getting used to it now. Just the weather, you know, it's quite cold here. So now these days,
It's
yeah, these days
quite.
quite pleasant. In fact, it's the first time this week that the temperature has
Nice.
gone over 10. So
Mhm. And I think it's springtime, so the
oh
blossoming
yes,
on it's good.
yes, there it's on its way. The blossom.
Nice, nice. So just for your information, Yasser was our guide, and of course, he has become a dear friend in the mountains of Pakistan in August when we went last year.
To meet you, Yasir.
Yeah,
You too, you too.
Yeah.
we had so much fun there. So
Oh yes.
Where did you go in Pakistan?
we went to the northern part. We went to Fairy Meadows. We went to Hunza. So we flew to Islamabad. We landed there, and then we drove to the north. And we spent almost a week on the road. Yeah, we had so much fun. It was really nice. I mean, it was chilly still in August. It started to get chilly. I mean, it was the end of summer, right?
Yeah.
And we hiked to the base camp of Nanga Prabat, right?
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes.
We stayed the night in BL camp, so we had fun. It was nice.
Nice.
And don't forget that on the last day she got sick.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. We had lots of spicy food, so I
Oh,
wanted to keep up, with what was happening, and then I paid for that. It was fun.
Good.
And
Hi,
and
Mariam.
especially the mangoes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It was so yummy.
Wow.
Hi, Mariam. Are you there? So anyway, I was thinking that we can get started, and then, Mariam can join us whenever she can. So we're so excited and grateful for you joining us tonight on Zaha Experience number 34. We have been always captivated by what's within each one of us, you want to call it narrative, stories, knowledge reservoir. We chose to call it in Zaha the personal culture, which is basically what anchors the way we pursue life and the way we relate to the other and the way we conduct ourselves each and every day. It's basically your interpretation of who you are, your identity, your familial relationship, the impact of the society on us, our personal experience, and so on. And we have 7 billion humans. We have 7 billion unique personal cultures that are worthy of being, explored and examined, if you want to call it. So us as humans, we are relational, we need each other, we are interconnected. So this interaction happens, but it's completely left for coincidence for us to decide one day to have a crazy trip to Pakistan. But, we don't want to leave this for coincidence. So we just thought in Zaha, we have the other, and we have two options. We either engage with this other, or we turn our back to it. So we chose just to be more intentional about the way we engage with the other, the way we explore the other. And we say the other is everything outside this frame. The other is your brother. Your brother is an other to you, because he's different. He carries something different within himself. And so we got intentional, curious, and in the way we interact with the other. And it's very important for us to stress on the importance of curating the safe space for us. There is no definite knowledge. There is no right or wrong answers. It's just us sharing the narrative that goes within and attentive listening. And this is, I would request each one of us to have this commitment tonight, just to attentively listen to the other and try to travel with them and explore their own world. We're not requested to comment on each other's input, just to listen and be there. So the objective of tonight's experience is basically to understand how our roles and responsibilities are changing because of what's happening. So last time we did an experience that was spinning around aloneness and our stories with loneliness and what's happening because of Corona. Tonight, we're focusing on how our responsibilities are changing. Hi, Mariam.
Hello.
Masal khair. So good to see
you. Same here. Am I unmuted? Oh, yes.
We can hear you. Yeah, it's up to you. It's quiet.
Hello.
And keep it.
Hello, Yasser. Hello.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Alaikum salam. Good. Missed you.
So we were just introducing Habibti. Thank you. We're just talking about, we're introducing what's been happening in Zaha for the last 2 years and how we're trying to be intentional about the way we explore the other and how we are intentional in the way we bring people from all walks of life to come together also. And we're just going to introduce ourselves. So if we just ask you guys to bring with you an object that has gained some sort of significance during Corona times. It could be someone that you started to think more about. It could be a physical object. It could be something that you started to see and notice more because of Corona times. It's something that tells us something about you. This is the objective. So I'll start myself just to make it easy on you. This poor book, red book, Culture and Imperialism, has been laying on the floor for the last 13 months, begging for someone to read this book and go through it. It's a very special book. And to me, it's written by Edward Said. He's a Palestinian author. He was. And he had a very sophisticated relationship with Palestine, which reminds me of my sophisticated relationship with Palestine. So I started to read this book, and it has been my companion for the last couple of weeks. And I would say now over to Sai. You're muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So actually, a bunch of things, but then Kindle. Yeah, I love downloading free stuff, like a lot of free stuff. And read on Kindle. But then But then I went back to Amazon, and then I started looking at books, and I just bought for the first time in my life. I have Kindle for like 6 years. For the first time, I bought something, and I started reading, and the experience is so much better. And then I started buying a lot of books now. So I don't want to read anything free anymore. But then I want to buy. Then I realized during this time, when we sit at home, I sort of felt, how would writers go through this pain while actually writing the whole book? Probably they'll have to sit and write. So I said, okay, now it's, you should probably buy books and read. Like Kindle, I bought a lot of hard copies, but then I always downloaded PDFs and read. But then this is the first ever time I appreciated it during this time. Otherwise, I would have never bought, to be honest.
Okay.
So yeah, this has become very dear to me.
Good. And you can choose someone. Who's next? You can choose. Sai.
Oh, yeah, I think in this order, Yasir.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been in tourism business, and I've recently started studying. So mainly due to Corona, the business is not running anymore. So I actually used my contacts in far off areas in Pakistan in actually helping people, and I have actually contacted them to find out if there are people in need. So group of friends, we are actually helping the people who need things, certain things like food or anything else, or maybe money. So I'm using my contacts these days, and those contacts I didn't used to rely on or contact frequently. I'm mostly on my phone trying to get in touch with them, and trying to tell or ask them if there is someone who needs anything. And of course, because of the phone these days and communication, those friends who we did not talk to in days, we actually getting in touch again, and it's a very, very positive thing, and now we have more time because I'm living away from my family these days. So it was almost after 3-4 days that I talked to my family, but now it's daily. It's more connection. I feel that I'm more responsible for them, and it's quite different from what we used to have before Corona.
Interesting.
So, Mariam, please.
Mariam.
Okay. It's many things, so I would rather mention them. So first of all, I would say my mind. This is something that I'm relying on a lot. It's my mind in terms of being very grateful. I believe months ago we were in lots of pressure. We were in state of being busy, state of running, but now it's going back to what really matters, which is ourselves as human, our thoughts, our real priority. So I believe in this time my mindset is something that I'm relying on, being positive, being grateful. We in Dubai or in UAE, we are in such huge, compared to others, we are in paradise. We have everything we need. Yes, we don't. Our jobs or our previous roles aren't activated now, but it's a good life that we are living, and we have to make it the best, because this is us going back to ourselves, our thoughts, fixing stuff, prioritizing things, planning things. So I believe state of mind and lots of books. I'm reading a lot these days and I'm loving it.
It's powerful just to see how each one of us is relating to it from a different perspective. So we'll start by the first part of the experience, which is basically to understand the concentric, circles that we have around who we are. So in our pursuit of, trying to satisfy our needs of feeling safe or significant or embraced or dignified, or we always come up with layers and layers of roles and responsibilities. And I think it's now the time for us to go through them and see how they are evolving because of what's happening. So we could think of a specific role or responsibility that you have. It could be related to the family, the community, it could be related to work. And you see that role is changing because of Corona. It could be absent, could be now be more intensified, it could be, so you relate to it the way you want, but like a role that has changed because of Corona, dynamics of doing that role or the meaning of it, and that sense of worthiness that come to you because of that role, I could start myself just to give an example and curate this safe space where we can come, forward and share narrative. Narrative is everything, is who you are. I would say this is something very private, and tonight to share it for the first time ever because of lots of reflection I've been going through recently. One of the roles that I have assigned to myself, and I think it's like the biggest role in my life, and it's the role that is directly related to the way I perceive my intelligence and my capacity as a human and my worthiness. Because if that role slows down a bit, my state of being changes. I don't feel okay anymore. I don't feel great about who I am. I would say this started at the age of 9, when my parents chose to go back to their hometown. They used to live in Kuwait. Because of war, they went back to their hometown in Palestine. And for some reason, we did not fit in. We spoke a different dialect. We conducted ourselves in a different way. And you're coming out of where you feel like, everything has been taken away from you. Not only your materials, your sense of safety, your knowing about life, your confidence. And so I've seen the family going through the hardship because of war. I've seen the family struggling because they were not fitting in. And on the top of that, my brother was imprisoned for 3 years. So there was lots of responsibility I have assigned to myself to work hard, to study hard, to get high grades, so I can bring joy to my parents' life. So I'm more capable to take care of them. So because that experience came with a lot of, I felt ashamed about us not fitting in as a kid. And I've been always hustling, I've known some of you for some years, and people would tell me always, you're so serious, you work hard a lot, you don't slow down, because this is basically where I'm getting my sense of significance in life. And because of Corona now we have time, you feel like you can see things more vividly because life has slowed down. And I've realized like this role has intensified at the beginning of Corona. You want to make sure that people are feeling okay. So I was reaching out to the family members and making sure everyone has everything they want. And I was feeling also guilty about being away from my parents for not being able to take care of them. So that, I would say this is the key role that I have always had in my life. Everything else was like something secondary or something supporting that key role of me thinking I'm the riskier the family, or I'm the provider. I'm the only single one. They're doing very well. War is over. People are fine. But the narrative is still going on inside my head. And it's been, somehow directing the way I live my life. So this is, to me, a key role that I feel the dynamics of it are changing as of now. And as we go in the flow of the experience tonight, I'll share more in related to this role and how it's changing. So yeah, this is my contribution to this part of the experience. You could think of any role. It could be something related to a stranger that you took care of once, or it could be related to a colleague, a partner. It could be your professional job. It could be anything. But what matters to us here is to share, to reflect on how the change in that role because of Corona has changed the way you perceive yourself or perceive your worthiness in life as a human. I would say over to Mariam.
Okay. That's very powerful question, Asma. It's a tough one. Okay, so before Corona,
I know. Take your time, huh? Take your time.
Sure.
We're here to listen.
Yeah. So I've always found happiness in being active, being achieving things, contributing towards stuff, and now at this time, I feel very, very much challenged in self-management. So apparently, so this is my self. This period I call it self discovery, and I call it going out of this as powerful, inshallah, and much evolved, hopefully. So I believe that before Corona, I was relying on other things to keep me going, like meeting with so and so, or having to drop my niece to school. So there are certain I've managed to create certain things in my life to make sure that I'm active. I'm out. I'm on top of things. But now being at home, it's very hard. It's really tricky to manage your time. You have all the time in the world, yet how do you make the best out of it? How to have the right motivation to do what you are aspired to do. I mean, we are very ambitious creatures all the time. We come up with things, with targets, no matter what. We always have some things to do. We always have our to-do list. It could be as significant or as silly, but we always have them, and it's good. This is us. This is good. Yet this period now, self-managing is the toughest, and this is the biggest role that anyone would do. So for me, this is a role that I'm still undertaking, but it's really painful and hard. So yeah.
Interesting. So you've got to choose one of the boys.
Oh.
Who would go next?
Sai.
So nice of you to say us boys. I like that.
All right. I think this beginning of this year, like it's the beginning of this decade, right? It's like 2020, like a new decade. So this decade, I was thinking, whatever happens for the next 10 years, everything would happen in life. Probably you would get into this space of, I just got into my early 30s, right? So this is the period when whatever I do in this next 10 years is going to be defining for the next however long I live. Like, so I got into the thought of what should I do this year? What should I, how would I make a decision? I thought this year would be a year of reflection as to finding something I'll find like joy, not material pleasures alone, but then finding that space which I want to pursue for next whatever, however long I live. So this is that year for me, reflecting on choosing that thing and defining my decade personally. But then I kept thinking about it, but I was I was into so many things in general, improv. This I never got home earlier than 10 after work. So during this last 5 weeks, I sat down and got thinking to myself, what is the meaning of defining everything? Like if anything comes or if anything happens, nothing is permanent. What's the point of defining something if things like this can easily change how you live, the way of life that we lived? We could never imagine that I would stay at home and then work from home. Like, I was thinking, what is the purpose of delving so much and then digging so deep and then racking my brains and finding out what I want? So if everything is going to be temporary, everything is going to be washed out. So I might as well live my one day at a time. Like, there is a lot of pressure of passion and purpose to find your purpose in life. What is your passion? I feel if you have a job, if you have a shelter, if you're eating 3 times a day, if you're paying bills on your time, I think that's the purpose, right? So what about passion? I don't care, if you're doing what you like, I think just go with the flow, man. I mean, a lot of things have changed in the past 5 weeks. Like, here I am sitting with a year plan for next decade, and then in 5 weeks, said, what? Nothing is permanent. Nothing is going to change. If something like this happens, if you get a corona, people are dying, right? What is the point of planning for 10 years when you're not living your life properly each day? So I decided that I'll still reflect. I'm not quitting on my reflection, but then because we are always evolving. So, but for now, I was thinking I should take one day at a time, and then live fully in that movement. So yeah, defining a role. I don't think there is any role for me now. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, staying at home.
Yeah, staying at home for now.
Yeah, it's interesting that you brought this up because I have a friend who lives in Toronto, and we've been talking about. I've been thinking of pursuing PhD. I'm thinking. I haven't yet decided that I want to do it tomorrow. But it takes time because, as you've said, this is something that I would be doing until the end of my life. So we were forced to maybe. For when it comes to the major of the BA or when it comes to the major of the masters, you try to explore. Sometimes you have a certain perception about a major, and when you go and do it, you feel like, no, this doesn't speak to my heart. And that gentleman is like, maybe he's 50, and he was like, yeah, go to this university and go. I was like, I haven't yet decided on the major for the PhD. He's like, oh, it's funny, like I'm 36. It's not a secret. It's like, you're 36 and you tried so many things. You're in the consultancy, now you're doing this experience curation in Zaha, and you haven't yet figured out what you want to do for your PhD. And that was, to me, like, if I wasn't someone who's, I'm okay with myself, I'm fine. That was harsh because people always try to define things for you. Like, you have to do this, you have to do that, and you have to figure things by a certain age. So, there's no specific way of getting things done. So yeah, thanks for sharing. This leaves us with you, Yasser.
Yes.
What's happening on your side?
Yeah, since I have recently started my master's degree, so that is one thing that I wanted to do for many years now. My bachelor's was back in 2009, so that made me you know want it more and more every day, but I could not take the leap, you know. So even when since last year, I was not very 100% ready, but uh, that was mainly in an inspiration from my father, that he got a course from England, online course. So that made me worry that, okay, if he is 63 and he's pursuing something, then I should better take the leap as well. And that is one inspiration that I got to come here. And since then, it has been my role as a student to prepare myself for doing better. But since my role has changed now, because the online campus studies are over and we are studying online, so we have many students from Pakistan and India here. So, and most of them, because we have a certain level of education there, so we are not very used to studying online, and we have a problem in understanding things online. So it happened that because of my experience and personal professional experience, and my understanding is not now as a student, but more because of my age, I feel more mature than the other students. So that made them come to me for help, because we speak the same language now. So that is one thing. Language barriers are important anywhere you go. So that made my new role. After Corona, is that I actually help as a second tier to my teachers towards the students now, because now whatever the teachers teach us in the class, I have to convey it again to the students again in our language, native Hindi or Urdu. So that made me realize that yes, I agree with Sai that nothing is compulsory, but nothing is permanent. But still, you have to define yourself as someone who has got a lot from Allah or God, and you have to give it back as well. And this is my way of giving it back to the fellow students I am studying with, and they are actually making me happy, by sending me messages that thank you, and then you have been very very helpful, and it's quite a good feeling that even in Corona, in the time of everyone is feeling stressed out, I'm getting somewhere that I can help people. I'm a general optimist. So it
That
will
makes
get
us four,
better.
I think, on this experience.
Yeah, exactly. And things will get better, and I'm quite sure that we will learn a lot, and we are learning. And being humble and down to earth is one of the learning processes that we have. Almost every human being I know is quite humble now, and now everyone is feeling equal, that whatever we are in life, we are all humans, and yeah, it's natural that everyone is feeling that way.
Yeah. Interesting. So now you're based in Sweden, or you said?
Yes, I'm in Sweden, and but still doing online study, so does not make a lot of difference.
hopefully you'll be able to meet your interesting colleagues also soon.
Yes, hopefully.
Yes, good. So now the experience was designed for like 6 or 7 people. So now we'll have definitely we'll finish earlier to 2 hours. So the second part is basically a saying I came across at the beginning of the Corona times, and I started, going. When I decided to go, delve deeper into who I am and my narrative about myself and about growing up. For Wayne Dyer, it's basically it says if you are what you are doing, then when you don't, you are not. So yes, and it triggered lots of thinking within me, and the way I would relate to it. I've always felt like there are so many multitudes or ranges within, who I am. There are different parts of who I am. Other than that rescuer, there's so many things that I've never given the chance with the other parts of who I am to surface or to, to evolve. Because that role of being the rescuer comes with lots of sense of worthiness or significance. So I tried to work on the narrative, like Asma, okay, war is over, family is fine, got to let go of this role, try to explore other roles. Okay, my mind says, yes, it makes sense. Because the second level, the next level of, of the human I want to evolve into would require a different narrative. So I tried to do so for like 2-3 weeks. And I would tell myself this upgraded narrative. And like my body was not coping up with that narrative because my body still stores the pain of the previous experiences. And I was reading about something called somatic coaching. When the body, like basically you embody the feeling of certain experiences you have gone through in life. So even if the mind says, yes, I agree with this new narrative, the body does not agree with it, because whenever you come across certain situations similar to the experiences you've gone through in life, it triggers you emotionally because the body has stored the pain. So I was speaking with my friend whom I've known for the last 2 years, and she turned to be an expert in this kind of coaching. So we had 2 sessions, and basically what we do, I pay attention to the bodily sensation. So whenever I am emotionally triggered by something, and try to give the attention to the sensation, where it's happening in the body and the meaning of that. And that revealed lots of the narrative I've never been aware of. Like me thinking of myself as a kid being ashamed, not fitting in, and that's something I've never actually admitted to myself. I've never been aware of. It's been always there in the back of my head, and it's been always playing. So recently, I've been allowing myself to integrate the other parts of who I am. I would say the greater, the more pleasant parts of my personality. And I've been paying attention to the sensation within my body, hoping at some point I'll be able to pursue other roles in my life other than the rescuer or provider kind of role. So this is, the way I would relate to this saying, Wayne Dyer, and it's time for me to try not to pursue and work hard as usual and see how it feels. Would I still feel the same about who I am or not? Which is quite challenging because this is something I've been doing for so many years. But I feel like now, it's about time to do this, which takes lots of courage. And I would like to think that I have it. So this is the way I would relate to it. And I will say over to you, Sai. Hello.
We've lost you just a bit.
Hello. Okay. Yeah. Hi, Sai. I'm saying it's over to you.
Okay. Cool. So what is that again that you want to share?
So yeah, how would you relate to this? Yeah. Like now we're reflecting on doing, you are not. Which is basically, it refers to the roles that we pursue in life, okay, which usually people, you know, associate with their sense of significance. People think they are their position titles, they are their responsibility. So when you are not pursuing this, then you are not, you don't exist, you cease from existence. Of course not. No. So that's the saying that we're trying to relate to it or reflect on. So how do you relate to this? When you are not doing, if we take away all the roles from you, what's left?
Interesting.
Yes.
Pretty interesting, because I never felt anything of that sort, because I think we are all privileged in that sense, except for frivolous things like going out and doing stuff. But then we are privileged to be at home, still keeping our jobs, doing our stuff anyway, right? I think I've become all the more. I'm also like Yasir. I'm also optimist, over optimist maybe. For me, I continue to do what I should do without thinking about what's going to happen, regardless of titles or roles or whatever. So I would basically want to justify for the work that I'm doing. So for everybody gets paid for whatever they're doing. At this point in time, many people have lost their jobs or livelihoods, but then people who are privileged, they should work more than others, not just to keep the job, but then being grateful that you still have what you have, right? And then giving the best. For me, I haven't really thought about roles or thoughts. I was simply doing what I should be doing, and then a little more, 100% and a little more. I think when we're still going to work, we put in like 8 hours, maybe 9 hours or 10 hours. I think now suddenly I put in 12, 13 hours. But then I don't feel that pinch, or I don't feel sad, oh, I'm working a lot. I feel it is my responsibility to do when people from our employers or whoever, they have trusted on us, and then they still believe that we can do whatever we are supposed to do from the home, right? So for me, the only thing that has changed, or thing that I've reflected, or thing that I continue to do so, is to give my best and nothing else. That's the only thing I owe to them, regardless of their pay or not, because they simply trusted us to keep our livelihoods otherwise. So that's all I have to say. I'm not thinking anything else. I'm just doing what I do.
Yeah, there is no perfect answer. There is no right or wrong. We're just to explore what comes to the people's minds, when they come up with such interesting thoughts, how they can relate to it. So, you choose who's next.
Last time I chose Yasir, so this time Mariam.
Okay. Fair. This is fair. Okay. One of the learnings that I have got is that we as human, we have multiple roles, without us knowing that or recognizing that. So no matter what, the role of being who I am is a role. So being Mariam is a role that would die with me. So that's a full stop. And then being eventually بعد عمر طويل إن شاء الله. And then the role of a daughter, a role of a sister. Right now, I'm activating, I'm trying. Um, this is something that I think worth sharing. So I am someone who like to live a busy life. So what I've done is I've done my university degree. In the same time, I was a full-time employee. So I had double life. That's why I felt that I was a little bit away from my family, although I have all the love for them. But somehow, this is something that stayed with me. So I feel there is kind of distance, although this has been like 6 years or more. But it's there. I haven't had the chance to actually work on it. So at the moment, I feel that this is something that worth exploring, worth fixing, activating the role of a daughter, activating the role of sister, um, being a servant at home. And at the same time, I feel that I'm really activating the role of a learner at the moment. And I'm loving that, Yasser and Asma, you are wanting to study. And this is something that I'm exploring, a role of being a master student. So this is
Not yet, not yet.
inshallah, ya Rab, ya Rab, Allah يوفقك. So another role is, exploring the possibility of my master degree. So and I salute you, Asma, for wanting to have a break from what you do, from work. It's tough, and this is something that I wanna explore during Ramadan. Maybe have no work whatsoever during that month. It's a great opportunity since the world is not as it used to be, and I don't think that we will have such an opportunity to take a break from what we love doing and
True.
give it a shot. So that's another possibility, not doing any of my usual work during Ramadan. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't yet gotten there, like not to do anything completely. I know it's funny, but I'm trying. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
easy.
not, yeah. It's not,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, I'm learning. I mean, just to think of the possibility of letting go and see what's left of who I am after I let go of all of that. That's to me is a huge step. So let's see how it goes.
Inshallah.
Thank you.
So over to Yasser.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Hopefully you can pursue masters like me.
Ya Rab.
No problem.
Ya Rab.
Inshallah,
Like me in
inshallah, you will get
Sweden,
there.
like me.
Yes, why not?
Of course.
So maybe
You
I
are a lucky
can
man.
be
You are a
helpful,
lucky man, Yasser. Doing your master in this time, lucky.
No, okay, you can say that. But we are all lucky in some
Yeah,
way.
alhamdulillah.
The world is changing, and hopefully it will change for a good.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. So yes, not only my roles have changed, but because I have always been explorer by heart, and I love exploring places. When I came to Sweden, I didn't spend any time. I didn't waste any time in getting used to the place. I explored the places. I got the maps ready, and I went to places in the first month. So I actually feel that this role of an explorer has reduced, and now I'm mentally not that energetic because of that experience that I used to have every week. And I used to go to places and explore things and that actually helped in my mental health, and it is very useful for anyone to give themselves a break from the routine and go and explore new things and enjoy in nature. So that is one thing that I miss, not exploring more, because I cannot, because of the uh, issue. So this is one rule that needs I need to think about it more and more every day these days, because I'm not getting the same mental pleasure. So I need to divert myself somewhere else. For example, I am learning new things now on and enjoying it somehow, because I have a lot of I take pictures and I have videos, but I didn't have a lot of time to edit them or to do editing on them. So these days I'm actually learning how to edit videos and how to edit my pictures. So that is one thing that I have found a replacement of, because going into nature is something very different from anything else, unique. But still, we have to compromise on a few things these days, and this is how I'm trying to compromise and make myself useful in other things these days.
Interesting. Just for you to know, Mariam, Yasser was our guide in the mountains in Pakistan in August.
Oh, hello, you. Okay.
Because I told everyone about the trip, so
oh yeah,
trip. Yeah, interesting. So this would bring us to the last part of the experience, where we reflect this understanding of how our roles are changing on the future. I don't think of Corona as like a separate event where we'll come out of it and you would say, oh, okay, it's over. No, it's part of, it's part of the life that we're living, and the impact of it, as you've said, Sai, that will continue with us. It's not something that, it's a one-time event. So how would you think of your roles and responsibilities evolving because of it? And how would that, get projected in the future? So I'll start with myself. It doesn't have to be poetic. It could be anything. It could be practical. It could be mine. I would say, again, in relation to what I have shared so far during this experience, I felt like I need to have more joy and lightness in my life. I felt like I want to see things differently, to have less filters, less judgment. And I would call this journey, as you've said, Mariam, you said that, pursuing our true selves is basically our number one priority. So I would say now I would, like, the title I would give to my efforts going forward is like the path back to me being more fully me, and integrate the other parts of my personality and explore new roles, and to feel more lighthearted and to have more joy in my life, maybe to play more, make it up for the childhood. From the childhood time. Yeah, this is what I have realized I need more of. Like, people have been constantly telling me, you're a workaholic, you're very serious. It's nice that you're passionate about what you're doing, but you also exist outside of Zaha, But now it hit me hard, and I feel after 2 years, yeah, I think they were right. So this is how I perceive that my role would be evolving. Just being more myself, and allowing myself to practice other roles in life. So yeah, I would choose Yasser.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's not only negative things. Now, Corona is actually helping a lot of things being positive as well. And it's very good to read the UN environmental report last week. And it was very positive. Yeah, it was positive that birds have returned to Venus, and glaciers have stopped melting so quickly. So it's a good thing as well. So and because most people are now more empathetic towards people, and there I have seen some few examples in Sweden as well. There are a lot of immigrants here from Syria and from African countries, but actually the Swedish people are helping them carry their stuff. For example, when this outbreak was the news was open, so people rushed to the stores and they were buying things, and most of the people here don't have anything to carry. So people were actually helping them with their cars and transporting their goods, and I found it very good and very positive. For me, I got a good chance to think about myself and the things I have been doing in the past and what I should do in the future. I don't find any huge change because I think I'm humble and I need that people around me should be forgiving. They should not take everything at heart, and I'll say that for me, being a positive change in the society will be something I will look forward to, because as I told you, I'm doing masters in data sciences these days. So it's a huge thing, and I feel that I can make an impact in the world, a positive impact with this as well. So being positive and trying to bring good to society is something I look forward to.
Interesting. Just a quick question: why you chose Sweden for your major?
Because one of the things is that the degree is one of the best in the world, and the other thing was Europe is more kind of, I don't okay, I'm not very fond of US. So the only choice I had was Canada and Europe. So I preferred Europe because, being a nature lover, you can understand.
yeah, I can relate to you. True. Okay, thank you. Okay, whom you choosing?
I would say Sai.
Okay, interesting question, Ashma. I think I'll divide this into two parts.
Yes, please do.
One is the world at large. Yasir just mentioned that probably the planet Earth is healing, right, during this time. But unfortunately, again, if you look at Wuhan is back into action again. They're doing all the stuff they used to do, right? This pollution is back to normal. So this is the time, I think, when we go back, whatever is normal, the new normal, we have to be a little more conscious about how we be in the, how we behave in general, the behavior, be it consumer behavior or be it like things that we do, right? Everything has changed. Everything will be changed. Like dynamics of shopping will be changed. Like people would no longer want to go to Carrefour and shop for 3 hours during the weekend. They would probably reset everything. And then I think we can adopt some of those things, just be ecologically conscious as humankind at large. And then, if we can push the climate change a little further, we should. I mean, seeing what we could accomplish without using vehicles or what's happening in the world now. If we can adopt things, if government or the policy change makers can say, do this certain things on certain days, I don't know. But then, yeah, a policy in place where, we help Earth to heal a little bit more, not getting back and throwing stuff again, right? So that's one thing. And second thing is, I think the tiny little things that we do are now more valuable, right? Just getting out of the house and taking a little walk is so much. It means so much now, which was it's like, who cares about it, right? Like connection, right? I'm a hugger. I used to hug people wherever I go. Like I haven't hugged people or shook my hands with them for I don't know. For how long.
It feels.
Yeah.
You must be having a hard time nowadays, huh?
Just imagine the connection, the idea of hugging.
Hug a tree. If you have a tree, hug it.
I don't know if I can bring Corona back because they say it lives on the barks for a long time. Anywho, but then, yeah, the human connection, the element is missing, which we used to take for granted, maybe, right? I think connection, family connection, we in the rut, in the busy life that we run, whatever we call it, I think we leave the calls for weekends or probably, particular time. I remember when my mom used to call, I said, no, only one call in the evening. If now I'm like, I call her every day, right? She's like, in the beginning, she was surprised, but now she's happy that, that connection is still there. So I'm forging the connection. So a lot will change once we get back normal, I guess. So this is like once in a lifetime opportunity, you call it, or once in a lifetime situation, this epidemic or pandemic. But then, yeah, once we come out, I think we should not forget what we lost, and then we should value it all the more, and then be a little more conscious is what I would say.
Has the thought occurred to you, given that you're a hugger, how would you do this? How would you, because you're a very warm person. So have you thought about it? Like, did it occur to you, I'm going to be greeting people going forward?
No, I don't think. I mean, anything that wouldn't change, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Because I can relate to it. Like I always prefer to shake hands and make sure there's the eye connection. So
yeah.
So yeah, let's see how.
I mean, that's the first
carry on
connection, right? That when you meet somebody new or whatever, the connection, the hand-to-hand touch or whatever, it's the basic thing.
It builds the foundation. Yeah.
Just imagine if Zaha experience was in the living room and on the Zoom.
Used to do. It's challenging for me to do it online.
Just imagine.
Challenging, but I do have a connection. Yeah.
We are managing it well, but again, just imagine all of 4 of us in a room. It'd have been so much better, right? So,
yeah. Like the gesture itself of you inviting people who have never met to come to your place, it's very inviting. Like you're saying, I'm choosing to trust you, though I don't know you. I'm choosing to trust you. And likewise, when people come, also they choose to trust me or the maestro. So that on its own was a huge, it breaks the ice. When people get together, we start with the experience. It's intimate because you share who you are and your personal stories. And sometimes people would tell me, oh, we don't want to, Asma, we're going to join, we're going to be only listeners. It's like, okay, fine. and then people and inviting, because of the things that I've just mentioned, and I end up struggling to stop them, because so yeah, I can totally relate to what you just have shared now. Interesting.
There are impacts.
Yeah, please go ahead.
There are impacts of this, and I categorize them into three things. One is financial. Of course, it's a huge impact on finances everywhere in the world, and the other is social, and the last one is mental. Because one of my teachers says that staying at home is also kind of illness. So for some people, staying at home is not normal. So yes, so social, the people who are quite social in life, or the ones who are not, even they are missing the physical interactions. It's very, very important these days, and we actually value it more. That my friends, I miss them, but I cannot meet them for a long time. That is something else, So it's an impact that we are coping with, and I hope it gets better.
Yeah, it will. It will.
يعني Yasser, you've mentioned that you are an explorer and you miss going out. I feel that.
Oh, yes.
It's really tough. Me too. I would say that I enjoy exploring things, going to places, meeting new people, and all of this has stopped. I'm like, stuff.
But one very, very interesting thing which we all missed. Actually, I always cooked, but now I'm a very good cook now.
Oh yeah,
and
everyone
is trying something new and being something positive, bringing something new into their
in another way.
Yes, exactly, and being innovative in the new dishes.
Yes.
That leaves us with you, Mariam, for the last part.
Okay. So the question was, what role that I would be still playing after this time?
Yeah, or how do you perceive your roles, titles, responsibilities evolving going forward?
Okay. Although I'm very young, but I always miss the old times where you work from 8 to 2 o'clock, and then you come back home, eat lunch with family, proper meal, everyone would be there. If you are a student, if you are a professional, whoever you are, everyone would meet in the lunchtime. And after that, there is no such thing as work. خلاص. It's you, it's your family, it's your hobbies, it's your chill time, it's your sleep time. So I sense that somehow we all would evolve magically after this. I'm very hopeful that working from distance would facilitate lots of things in a good way, not wasting time to go into certain places, finishing things in an innovative way. I believe this will continue, and then having our magical moments as family, as individual, as friends would continue. I sense that in the previous months, meetups were very regular. We go to fancy restaurants. We meet up here. We have, when we go out, we have to eat. There are certain things that we are so used to and were unnecessary. I believe that this is something that would change. Rather than going to fancy restaurants, we would end up to going to homes where we cook for each other. خلاص, we are all chefs, I guess. So I'm very hopeful of the future. I believe family would be a real priority. Relationship would be a real priority. And we aren't machines anymore. Yes, we will continue, serving for our passion, serving the people in society, but we would do it in a more conscious way, where we aren't eating up ourselves, we aren't ignoring our loved ones. I'm very hopeful that the future would be something like that, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. It's interesting to see how each one of us related to it, to the roles and responsibilities and sense of worthiness in our own way, unique way. But what's common among us, that we're all going through the process of evaluating and assessing and understanding and reflecting on it. And this is what we always try to do in Zaha. Like, we tap into this unique part of who you are, but we also focus on this commonness among us as humans, because we all have the desire to be loved, embraced, to feel safe and secure and dignified at the end of the day. And we will continue with these experiences because they're giving us an idea of how people are changing and how the narrative is changing. And this is very important for the decision makers, for us to understand how we're evolving out of it. So I'll send you tomorrow a survey to give your feedback on this. We'll keep you posted on the upcoming experiences because we're having different topics related to Corona. And it takes lots of courage to show up and share who you are and share your personal stories. And we don't take this for granted at Zaha. So we're very, very grateful for all of you and for your precious time. Thank you so much for this interesting experience. And hopefully we'll see you again on the upcoming experiences, okay?
Yes, inshallah. Thank you for
Thank you all.
inviting us.
Thank you.
And happy Ramadan.
Ramadan Mubarak to everyone.
Yes.
Yalla, salam
It was a
everyone.
pleasure.
Thank you. Bye. Nice meeting you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.